Hi everyone, Asmo here, and GGG just dropped a new patch for Path of Exile 2 that finally brings some of the changes that I really wanted to see. More loot, more quality of life, and less tedious clicking. The patch 8 in the current update cycle is exactly what GGG needed to do to show us their commitment to improving the game. I played about 5 hours in the new patch, ran some pre-prepared juiced maps, and made over 100 divines, and my enjoyment from mapping in PoE 2 was the highest that it has ever been so far. In the background you will see some of the highlights from that farming session, and meanwhile I'll give you a quick breakdown of the changes and why they are so good for the game. The first one is the new stash tabs and the stash tab improvements. GGG made the already existing flask stash tab work for charms. This is great because the charms were a very late addition to the game and they replaced the utility flasks, so it makes sense to add them to the tab that kinda lost its purpose. The gem stash tab also has been improved, making it much easier to see what level gems you have in it, even if they have already been engraved. And the ritual and the socketable stash tabs are also a very nice addition, since omens didn't stack by default, so if you use a lot of omens, then their stash tab will be very useful to you, and if not, then you just can skip it. But the rune and talisman stash tab makes it much easier to find the runes that you want without having to always type their name in the search bar or type the attributes you're looking for, because they'll always be in their right place. The next change was a QOL feature that exists in PoE 1 already and is now coming to PoE 2, moving all currency items of the same type between windows with a single click. So if you're moving things between your stash and inventory, or if you're trading and you have a lot of items of the same type, so like a lot of exalted orbs, a lot of divine orbs, a lot of, augmentations, like whatever you're moving, even things like Twilight Reliquary keys, anything basically that can be traded through the currency exchange market in-game can be now moved from one window to another with Control plus right click. This reduces the amount of pointless clicking. It's something that I'm really strongly in favor of, and I think there are more areas in the game where that needs to be addressed, but this is a really good step in the right direction. You can now also bind the buttons to allocate strength, dex, or int passive skill tree with a hotkey instead of having to select it with your mouse. This is especially nice for speedrunners, so if you're not speedrunning, this might not be a very exciting change for you, but for me this is really nice. And in general, I really like adding more options for controls. This is another design approach that I am very big proponent of, and this is what I want to see: more options for players for how they want to interact with the game. So this is great. Tiered item filtering. Finally, as someone who develops my own loot filters, this is really amazing. I love keeping my loot filter very clean and only showing the things that I would always pick up and hiding everything that I don't want to pick up. So I share my filters with Patreon supporters. If you want to use my filters, you can check that out, link is in the description, and I will be soon updating the strict version of the filter with the changes to take full advantage of the tiered item filtering, and I will be most likely hiding the low tier rares unless they are on the best basis. The essences and strongboxes also got little buttons to roll them. GG added these buttons on the objects themselves so that we can identify them, roll them, corrupt them without having to open our inventory. This is great because if you carry your currency with you, you'll be able to do everything quicker and easier, and it also serves as a reminder to do it in case you wouldn't otherwise do it and you would forget, because now you can see it on the object itself. And also, if you didn't carry the currency with you and just randomly happened to pick some up earlier, you will see the option to use it, and you will know that you can take advantage of it even if you weren't able to do it before, or you weren't aware that you randomly picked up some currency that you can use on these objects. So changes like this really improve the game interface and they increase the immersion of the game. So you're actually playing the game instead of dealing with the inventory management. Another great step in the right direction. They also did some balance changes that a lot of people will be happy about. They buffed greater and perfect jeweler orbs to the point that I actually dropped 2 perfect jeweler orbs in a single map, which is a little bit insane. They also lowered the required area level for level 20 gems to drop, which means that you'll be finding them during your regular T15 mapping, which is what most people do. And this adds a few more decent drops to the pool of items, and I never complained about the amount of loot dropping before, but I still think this is a very reasonable change considering how rare these things were before. And the breach changes are the clear MVP of the patch. I've been wanting this change for so long. Breach splinters now drop at the end of the breach, so you don't have to click 100 individual splinters on the ground anymore. It's finally, like this change alone would make this patch amazing for me, because it's a really big deal. We're going from not wanting to pick up breaches while doing breach to actually looting the main thing that they drop. Previously, I would just filter out the single splinters and the small stacks and only pick up the big ones and just ignore splinters as if they don't drop, because eventually picking them up was not worth the time. But now, if you do breach in a juiced map, you can get half a breach from a single map without even focusing on boosting the breach splinter drop rate. And if you target farm it, you can get multiple breach stones per map, and it won't take you 7 years to loot them up. So I hope that this change means that the GGG understood that players like playing the game and running around and killing monsters and picking up loot, but not only picking up loot for 5 minutes, because it drops in the most inconvenient way possible. So now you see how much you dropped, you pick up the stack, and you still get nice feedback, but you don't have to spend 4 centuries looting little pebbles scattered around the entire map that then combine into a key to another dimension. So thank you, GGG, more of that please. The shrines are now improved as well. The speed shrine and the XP shrine now have a longer duration. The shrines are definitely worth investing into on your Atlas passive tree if you want to make your maps easier to farm and XP and level up faster. They also removed the corrupting and the gold shrine, which in the current version of the game were simply just detrimental to pick up and served no useful purpose, which is really good that they've been removed, and it makes it so that you also get more of the good shrines now, so they should feel like a pure buff to your maps whenever you get them. There also were a lot of changes improving the visual clarity, like Rogue Exiles being easier to locate, or the corridor ability of Arbiter of Ash easier to see, which definitely was needed because that ability was super blurry and very hard to notice until it was sometimes too late. And they also fixed a lot of bugs, such as like Atlas tree not loading, some maps being unable to be completed, like 16 different crashes, and apparently the finality passive that I thought they didn't let us anoint on an amulet on purpose was just bugged. So the deepest tower helmet just got even better because it can take advantage of that passive being anointed. Overall, I am very happy with the patch. The game is becoming better and better every single time they make an update, and I'm pretty sure that by the time it releases, it's going to be really good. And I also love these consistent improvements. Getting a smaller patch like this every couple of weeks feels really good, and I hope GGG continues doing that. Let me know what you think about this patch in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more Path of Exile content, and I'll see you next time.